Hello, day 4 of I cannot say the title of his new program without actually humming. How are you? How are you today? I know that the lives that I'm doing are resonating with the people that are following me, and I'm happy that this work is bringing some effect and some vibration to the people that are following this lovely new program that I'm running in these days. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna have another day. Tomorrow is gonna be the last, and I will tell you the topic at the end of this live. But today we're talking about something that for me, it's not simple, okay? This was really the thing I had to work, or let's say, I thought I had to work on this point to unlock some situations, because we're talking about money, okay? And in the specific situation, we're talking about money and safety, okay? I don't know if you can hear all the seagull. Okay, so money, safety, and nervous system, recurring thoughts, ideas that we cannot push out of our brain. So last year, actually in 2024, I really started working, and I thought I was working on my perception of money. Turned out it was a whole different work that I needed to do to actually resolve that that block that I had, okay? And that was not allowing me to feel confident, to really expand my project. And some people that work with me told me, in the last year, you made a huge change. Well, this was the thing, that I started finally working on what I thought was my problem, okay? Now, if you want, we start from me and then we go into it. It will be very short, my perspective. And when I talk about myself having a problem with money, I'm not talking about the fact that I wanted to become mega rich, a second Elon Musk. No, that's not the point. The point was that I never felt safe in relation to money. Every time that I was thinking about my job, my growth, my development, I would doubt myself and my own value. Okay, so if I was not receiving enough subscription, the problem it was me. If I was not earning enough at the end of the month, the problem was me. Everything related to money was connecting me to the value of myself. Okay, so this is the angle that we're going to have today, talking about this topic, okay? So we're not talking about what you might expect. We're not going to talk about goals, strategies, numbers. So we're not talking in terms of how to earn more, because money don't come in this way, okay? Not only, at least. But I want to start from a deeper perspective. I want to talk about what money does inside our bodies, okay? And what thinking about money triggers in you. Some people are not triggered. Good for them. Some other people are really triggered when we're talking about money, okay? So, over the years, working with teachers, facilitators, musicians, music therapists, musicians as well. Just even musicians have lots of blocks and a lot of ideas related to musicians, okay? Not all musicians are musicians because they want to become successful and full of money. So there's a lot connected to this, okay? Most of the blocks that people experience about money, growth, visibility, because a lot is connected, okay? Or success. Sometimes we think that money equals success. are not mental. They are kind of physiological, and they live in our nervous system. They live in connection with recurring thoughts that potentially you grew up with. Okay, situations you experienced, sentences that your parents have told you. All of these are creating a system of links between your past, your present, and potentially how you're going to expand in your future. Now, I like to think that if we understand something well enough, we can just decide differently. We can decide how potentially things could go, right? Or we can try to go in that direction. For example, if we know what prices are fair for our sessions or for our mentorings, whatever, we should be able to raise them, right? If we know our work has a value, we should feel comfortable getting paid for it, right? We shouldn't even say thank you. I have given you my expertise and you're paying me back. This is our system. You're paying me back. That's it. I shouldn't say thank you. Right? But no, instead we're saying thank you. Thank you for paying me. Thank you for actually giving value to my work. So this is not how it works, obviously. Money, is not neutral. For most of us, money is deeply connected to safety, belonging, and approval, and survival as well. So they carry emotional memory that sometimes are very, very, very hard to rewire. For me, it was very, very hard to rewire, okay? Because in my case, money were connected with many of these type of memories, emotional memories. There was definitely survival and safety. There was a lot of belonging. And recently I realized that there was a lot of approval as well connected to my vision of me getting more money. So very early in life, many of us learned things like being liked means being safe, or not asking for too much means having a better connection with others, or being flexible, easy, open to possibilities, avoid conflicts. So later on, when we started building our projects, our work, our businesses, we're kind of trying to do things differently, right? We are trying to potentially earn more or earn enough to be happy and do what we would like to do, work less, have more compound effect. So I am now visible, people know me, and the work just comes to me naturally, so I don't have to keep promoting or hoping for more work to come, okay? Or simply to have our job respected by other people. So, our nervous system kind of goes in cortocircuito. How do you say cortocircuito in English? Now I don't know, but cortocircuito is such a nice word. Let me see. How do you say cortocircuito in Inglese? Short circuit. Dead short. I've never heard of this word before, probably because nobody uses it. So our brains, when we're talking about all these nice feelings, feeling safe, feeling connected, feeling accepted, feeling part of, like belonging to a certain community, okay? For example, think about musicians. Some musicians really want to become rich and famous. Some other musicians are like, no, I'm just doing music for myself, and I love to write music and to connect with the community. So I don't care about money, right? So there are very different situations there. So when we grow up feeling all of these lovely emotions, well, feeling lovely emotion, connecting these emotions, safety, approval, survival, belonging, with feeling safe, with feeling, safe. When we instead we're bringing in our growth in terms of money and success, the brain is like, a nervous system is like, what the hell is happening here? If I get richer, some people won't accept me anymore in their circle. If I work less, other people will look at me like I don't care about other people. If I claim my space, some others will tell me, who do you think you are? Right? Not because really we're doing something wrong, but simply because these two things together, they seem to do not work very well. Okay? At least that was for me. And we're also stepping outside something very familiar. So, for our nervous system, for its job is not to make us successful, is not to make us visible, but is to keep us safe, to keep us alive. So when this type of expansion feels unfamiliar because we come from those other ideas, this system tries to pull us back, tries to make us feel, not tries to make, but it automatically makes us feel uncomfortable, and least uncomfortable. So this is why many people, many music teachers, many musicians hesitate months or years before raising their prices. Here in England, for example, music sessions are really, really, really cheap, like £7-8 per session, per groups. And I'm like, why? Okay. They feel uncomfortable when the projects can have a different value, okay? Because it's like, I'm not doing it for the community anymore. I'm not helping others anymore to reach potentially music. Right, correct, but are you a charity? Do you have, millions in your bank account that you can just do a charitable work? Because I can't do that. I need to earn money to survive in this society. So I need to raise my price if I am at that stage of my life and my career. It's not about neglecting other people's entering my services. I can always create free services specifically through the year to make people enter my services. Or, for example, what I've done recently, create a different model price, so people from different countries can access my work. So maybe you can write, there are many strategies in which you can make your work affordable without having to lose potentially the ability to earn what you should earn and feel safe for yourself. Another thing, it's like, my project is working. Okay, my music school is working. Like, I found myself in that. I was at a drink with some friends, musicians and facilitators, and they were talking about their work, and they were like, I'm struggling a little bit. There is not so much work. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable. There was a lot of work before, but now it's changed. And then they turned to me and they're like, how is it working for you? And I'm like, well, we are doing very well. We have a lot of students. I'm earning enough to send my daughter to an independent school. So I felt very uncomfortable in that, okay? I didn't like to brag about how successful my school is. So yeah, sometimes we're feeling uncomfortable when our projects are working. So we downplay our own success. Or, and this is even more fun, sometimes we unconsciously sabotage our moments of expansion. Because I can't hold all of this. Who do you think I am? How people will look at me? Sometimes it's not lack of ambition, but it's protection, because we don't want to enter in a different space. We feel unsafe in that type of space, which is not normally associated with who we are, especially when we are musicians giving 2 hours to the community, when we are music therapists helping people that really needs us, or when we are music facilitators trying to bring joy and moments of breathing to people. Why should we get paid for that, right? So in all of this, it's also important to say that working with a strategy alone on this type of topics doesn't work, okay? Because we can know exactly how to structure an offer, or we can know exactly how to communicate our value, or how to make, how would make financially sense, okay? That was my program. It's always difficult to exit from our comfort zone. Yes, exactly. Yes. And I learned how to live in the middle between my comfort zone and the zone of like, what the hell is going to happen in my life? I understood that this is my comfort zone. I get too bored if I always stay in the comfort zone, and I get too stressed if I am completely out of my comfort zone. So I understood that my perfect place to be happy is in the middle. It's on the edge of a fall, basically. That's where I'm like, oh, this is challenging and fun. Fucking ADHD, right? Anyway, what was I saying before I moved to that? Yes, when we associate, when we just work with a strategy, that's not enough. When we associate our success with just practical strategies to follow, just methods to follow, then you can go and work with ChatGPT, because at the moment ChatGPT can do that for you, but it's not going to work, because the real work, the real transformation is actually about understanding all of these weaknesses, which we can call weaknesses, but actually I call intelligence, okay? Because when we're going to start considering those points, okay, it's where our survival mode becomes expansion, without stepping out of your place, without being too much, okay, without taking the place of somebody else. That's also important. If you take your own place, you're not still in the place of somebody else, okay? Now, super important point for people that work exactly what I do, or more or less, okay? Music, musicians, facilitation, therapy, connection with people. When we work in care, in education, in this type of fields, it becomes even more complex, because many of us were raised implicitly or explicitly with the idea that giving and caring should be selfless. But again, we are not charities, right? So that education should not be about money. And I do believe in that. I do. That passion, our interests, our motivation should be enough. So when we ask for more, we feel guilty. We feel that something inside is tightening, okay? So for example, in the tests that I have, the self-assessment test that I shared with you guys about 10 days ago, and then people are still responding to it, a few people wrote something like, I'm already very lucky. I'm already feeling very happy. I'm already very grateful. Like, wanting something more is wrong. Obviously, we can see what's going on in the world, and there is always something that doesn't work, and we should be grateful for what we have. And I am grateful for what I have, but I also work hard to keep it going, because I know that if I don't work hard for it, nobody will do it for me. If I don't continue putting my effort and my energies in it, my business not only will not grow, but it won't even stay stable. Okay, this is one of the most important things that I've understood in the last years, working and working. A business never stays balanced. It either grows or shrink. So that means that you always have to work on your business, even just to carry on as you are, potentially. And wanting a little bit more shouldn't be, it's not about taking from somebody else, okay? So what happens when we are starting, thinking, feeling that feeling of, I am a person that cares, I'm a person that gives, I'm a person that works with community, so I should be selfless. We start thinking sentences like, who am I to charge this much? Okay, so 3 years ago, one of my mentors told me, you need to put your mentoring sessions at £200 per hour. So you're positioning yourself in another place. And I was like, no, why? Who am I to charge this much? Then through the years, I understood I'm not charging £200. But through the years, I understood my position. I understood my identity within my own system. So I can charge more than what I was charging at that time, with freedom in my mind, without thinking, who am I to charge this much? Another nice question that always came to my mind, especially for Music Tree, was, what if people leave my courses because I'm raising my prices? £2 per hour. What if they leave? I mean, nobody left. Nobody. They are actually keep coming, and they're very happy to come. And some people are attending 2-3 sessions a week. And I was asking myself, oh my God, they're going to leave if I raise up the price of £1.50 or £2 per hour. That was me, okay? I needed to have confirmations because I'm this type of person. So another one that it's also really hit me, and I reflect on this a lot, and therefore I decided to, operate and change my system in a specific way. It's like, what if I'm no longer seen as a kind person because I'm asking you to pay me what I'm worth it? And again, this is not a mindset problem. It's like my nervous system remembering all the rules, remembering all the situations, okay? So what I'm trying to offer you today is to reframe. First is to understand where your system comes from, and then to start reframing it. Because being underpaid, it's not ethical, okay? And it's not sustainable. Being exhausted because we have to teach too many hours because we are not paid as we should be doesn't actually serve our students, doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve your family, your friends, the people around you, doesn't serve the community that you're trying to build. And burning out really doesn't help anybody, okay? So money should be a healthy system, not pressure. Here I am again, just talking about our situation, not the financial, the global financial world of how money works work in the world, okay? It's just about us, facilitators, music teachers, musician, therapists, okay? Money should support you, should create space in you so you can be more creative, you can study more, you can improve, you can bring something more to your community all the time, okay? And it really needs to support you so you can have a long-term existence, okay? Not a project that works for 2 years and then it's not sustainable anymore. Tomorrow we are actually going to speak about this, okay? So little spoiler for tomorrow. Tomorrow is about how difficult it is to actually stay in this work. It's not really about starting. It's not really about putting the first stones of your project, but it's actually staying in this project after 5, 10, 20 years, okay? So, when we want to work on our system, hola Flavia! When we want to work on our system related to the perception of money and our financial situation, we think that there are some magical tricks and that there are some strategies that will immediately make us think in a different way. Unfortunately, it's not that. Unfortunately, and fortunately as well, because the shift can be great. So we don't have to push or we don't have to prove something to ourselves. We just have to work on it day by day, day by day. You are good when you say no underpayment for your work. Yeah, it wouldn't work. It doesn't work. It's impossible to continue in that way, okay? So again, this shift in money comes also when there is a shift in identity. And that shift in identity, as we have discussed in the previous 2 live sessions, the shift in identity also becomes a clearer communication, become clearer boundaries, where your boundaries can be flexible when you need them to be. They become kinder, and also when your work becomes more sustainable for yourself. So in Spark, which is my 12-month program about business, but also in the Hub, which is this community that I've built with about 60, 70 teachers now in it, we don't treat money as a separate topic, and we don't feel judged because we talk about money as well, okay? We don't talk about earning more without talking about safety. We don't talk about growth without trying to understand what's going on in our bodies, what are the blocks that we have in our minds in those moments. Because the real expansion and the freedom that you can have to finally put yourself in the right system for yourself, we're going to talk about system as well tomorrow, doesn't come from forcing yourself to try steps that you're not ready to do yet, but it comes from an internal understanding with the external conditions, okay? So the relationship between what you're thinking and what is actually happening right now is where we work on, okay? So since this program is called Hum, and the subtitle is Your Background Vibration, Your Body Responding, I want to leave you with this reflection. What would change in your work, in your choices, in your communication, if earning more felt safe in your body? Yoga time. Yeah. So we're not talking about feeling it as something exciting, feeling it as something impressive, but just safe. Because I'm just starting from where I was before, okay? Money for me were connected to a place that was not safe. So if you are potentially in this stage of your life, just try to tell yourself, what would change in my work? What would be the practical changes that I would make? And what would be the choices that I would make in my communication, in my setup, in my prices, in my routine, if money felt more safe for me? And this kind of work, it's really subtle and it takes a lot of time, okay? And it's layered, but it is really freeing. Just to close with another example, you know, I have ADHD. I spoke about that multiple times. And many people that are working with me are either starting realizing that they are neurodivergent, or that they are starting working with me because they are neurodivergent as well. So both things. Anyway, ADHD brought me to burnout multiple times in my life. Burnout that was not recognized coming from ADHD, but that was obviously addressed with guilt. Like, you don't know how to stop. You're working too much. You can't realize you do this. You are a workaholic, blah, 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 blah. And burnout doesn't come just from work, okay? Burnout can be also emotional burnout. It can be from many different situations in your life. Anyway, it took me a long time after I got the diagnosis for ADHD. You see again how I'm bringing money connected to identity. The two things are not separated. So when I really started understanding how my nervous system works, and I finally said, yes, you do have a problem. You do have ADHD, which at the moment is considered a disability, okay? And it does have an impact on people. When I finally understood that was actually happening in me because I couldn't see it before, I took a decision. And the decision was I need to work less with kids, because I don't have the same energy that I had when I was younger. And not only I get to burnout, but my burnout also means that my body completely shuts. So I get pain everywhere in my body, like a type of a fibromyalgia thing. And I couldn't walk for some weeks. And then I had so much pain around my body that I really had to stop working and cancel classes. So I had to start slowly moving away from teaching 5 days a week, 4 days a week, which I always thought like this is not sustainable anyway. I'm talking about kids specifically. 2, I want to do more online. I want to do more remotely. I still want to teach, but I want to supervise other people. I was already a mentor, okay? I started doing mentoring when I was 28. So this means already 12 years. 13, I'm turning 41 in 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, 13 years of mentoring. But this was a thought that I started having 4 or 5 years ago, okay? So that was not enough. Stop working was not enough. And obviously, stop working. Teaching less was not enough for my nervous system to avoid burnout. Because I didn't give the space to myself to actually fill myself with other things that were kind of nurturing my nervous system and my brain, right? So you're probably saying, why is this connected to money? Obviously, going down from days of teaching to mentorship was a big jump, because the safety that teaching gave me for many, many years. And that's also the reason why I started teaching so early, okay? Because in my family, there was not a lot of money, so I needed to start teaching early. I was 17. Therefore, my work, being a music teacher, was my safety net. being a music teacher would have always saved me, even when there was no money, okay, in my family. So deciding to take off days was a big thing for me, because it meant that I had to trust that money would have arrived in another way. So that was difficult. But even if I took some days off, that was not enough for my system to chill. So I decided to invest a chunk of money to a gym where I can go, where I can swim, where I can do saunas, and there is a spa. And it's not just a normal gym, it's a kind of a nice one, very nice one, okay? So that for me was like a big shift in my mind, because it was like, okay, I have to prioritize my safety now in a different way. So there was a shift that I needed to make, and it hasn't been easy. Therefore, that's why, for example, within the program Spark, which is this 12 months program, there is the hub inside Spark, because it's important to have a daily connection with somebody else to check in these feelings, to check these feelings in, okay? So like saying things out loud to a group of people without fear of judgment really can calm down the nervous system, can make people understand that those ideas that you're feeling, that you're having, those thoughts are just coming from the past, or that you haven't seen the full picture. So it's a constant work day by day. That's also why Spark lasts 12 months. Because if you are at the beginning of this type of work and you're starting realizing these things for yourself, the change, you can't expect the change to happen overnight. So a year, it's really the minimum to make a change in this type of processes. Now, I finished. So thank you so much for your time here. I have been talking for quite a while now, and you're still there looking at my live, so thank you for being here. Tomorrow we are going to have the last live session of Hum and Hum will be available on my Instagram feed for a few days, and then it will go straight into Spark, because this is a kind of a very intense type of conversation that normally is within Spark. So it will be there. If you have any comments, I have a few minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to say goodbye to you. And you will receive this live anyway if you are subscribed to my newsletter. And tomorrow is going to be about the system that you can create for yourself, and why it is so difficult to actually stay in this work, why it's easier to start and why it's actually difficult to keep going. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.